I'm Susan Howard from the Lone Star College Tomball Community Library, and this is our interview with Anna Lotz from Community Impact paper for our community conversations. Hi, Anna, and how did you become interested in being involved in journalism?
It probably goes back to high school. I didn't really even know what journalism was, but I really enjoyed writing a research paper in ninth grade, strangely. But I loved that kind of research component as well as just the writing aspect, obviously. Had always been, writing poetry or writing, this or that, or reporting, a story to my family or something. And so I think it was my high school English teacher who had asked me if I had ever, considered going to school for journalism. And at the time, I think I was still actually pursuing or considering accounting because I really loved math, which is totally different than journalism. And so I kind of, decided that that's what I was going to pursue. It made a lot of sense, and started kind of working a little bit with our community newspaper back where I grew up, just once a semester or something, and enjoyed it. And then went to college, figuring that I would probably change my mind or something, but I just kept falling more and more in love with, the editing side and the reporting and, the multimedia aspects and stuff. And so haven't really looked back since then, but it did all kind of start out of a ninth grade research paper. And then I've just kind of gotten my feet wet and learned as I've gone on. So, yeah.
Oh, wow, great. And how did you come to be a community impact?
So I'm actually not from Texas. I grew up in New York, went to school in Ohio. And so all throughout college and stuff, when I chose journalism, maybe it was just at the time, or still it's that way, but it's kind of if you're going to go to school for journalism, you're going to have a really hard time getting a job, especially if you want to work for a newspaper, because they're dying, and it's a dying industry and such. And so I was determined that I was going to work in print journalism somehow. My experience had been in community journalism. I knew that's what I loved, because you get to know the community, and you get to live in the same community maybe that you report on. And so I just applied for jobs left and right. I think I probably applied for about 40 different journalism jobs, and I was maybe a couple weeks away from graduation, and I got 3 different job offers all on my birthday. And one of them was community impact. And I didn't even remember that I had applied for this job, but it really kind of embodied my dream job. And so I really picked up my life and moved it to Texas for community impact, and have been here ever since, almost 5 years now. And so really just loved what the company stood for, and loved the communities that we were in and such. So I didn't really know much about Tomball or Magnolia before I got here, but I feel like this is home to me, and it's just it's a great community to be a part of. So I'm glad that I kind of took that leap and decided to come to Tomball because of community impact.
And we're happy to have you here in Tomball. And what makes community impact different from other newspapers?
Yeah, so I love our mission of, that kind of the news is accessible to everyone. And so if you're familiar with our paper, you get, a copy in your mailbox every month, as well as our online content. And we don't charge for that content, which first of all makes us different, because you don't have to have a subscription. We just kind of give it to you whether you want it or not. And we report on, I like to think of news that you can use, or news that, a week or a month from now is still going to be valuable to you. So those development stories, what restaurant, can I go to for dinner? What is the school board looking at? We don't really cover sports or crime, or kind of those quick stories that if you read it tomorrow, it's kind of out of date and stuff. And so I love that our news has a little bit longer lifetime, so that it really feels wow, this is improving my life, or informing me, instead of just giving me something to read or whatnot. So our mission is to inform communities and build or inform readers and build thriving communities. And so I think that's like a really unique mission for a news organization to have, to really want to better the community.
Well, here at the library, the Community Impact is one of our favorite papers, and I know I look forward to getting it in my mailbox every month. But why do you? And you kind of touched on this, but why do you think these local papers are so important to community?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, the heartbeat of us is really to, help the community thrive. So we want to help businesses. We want to help, readers in Tomball and Magnolia thrive. And we do that by, really telling you kind of what's going on in your backyard, or answering the questions, listening to our readers, or at least, I'm sure we fall short sometimes, but still trying to do that. Whereas, especially out in this area, like there's not a lot of other, presence to know what's going on, or to know, if you're not able to attend local government meetings or things like that, it's hard. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's very quick paced out here. And so it's easy to miss things. It's easy for me to overlook something just because there's so much happening, so much great stuff in our communities. So I think without a community newspaper there's not as much like unity in the community of kind of bringing people together under, a common understanding of what is our school board discussing, where are the best restaurants to eat, what's happening at city council meetings and things like that. So I love that we can kind of be, like a unifying piece in the community just by simply focusing on, helping our communities thrive and, informing them with just, what's happening down the street, or the pothole that's being fixed, or things like that, that really, make the difference in your commute or in your life.
And how do you find your sources for the local Tomball news?
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of our kind of story ideas and things that we notice happening in the community probably do come from social media. That's the way things are happening these days. But with our cities, I know you all have a great like social media presence. And so since there is so much to keep up with, it's a great way for us just to kind of have eyes on like everything that's happening in the community. But also, just looking over, meeting agendas for, the Tomball ISD board or city council, getting story ideas that way, or knowing, kind of who are the decision makers in the district or in the city, and talking with them. And then obviously like our local business owners, or like homeowners association presidents and things like that are kind of leaders on a more local level as well. Those are, our go-to sources, not to mention, the chambers of commerce and stuff. They're a great resource to us as well, with just, providing insight. And again, they kind of have, the pulse of, what's happening from transportation to business to education and such. So it's really just being present in the community, and then realizing who shows up time and time again, and you probably need to talk to them. So.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of, how has the COVID situation affected the newspaper?
Well, it's definitely made things a little bit, a little tricky. It's hard to, or it's gotten harder to kind of find stories to report on that are still important to our community, but that we don't mention COVID in every one of them. Because COVID is like so far reaching that, whether it's from, healthcare, obviously, to, education is a big component. We write about transportation in the sense that, projects have been accelerated during this time, like everything that, is our bread and butter here, like it's pretty much all been affected by COVID. But we try to come up with, new angles, or, instead of just telling the same story over and over. So I think that has been a challenge of just how to still, deliver the news, but in a way that's like fresh and, and good, instead of just, the same thing over and over again. And we have, kind of restructured a little bit to, we've just like any small business, we've felt that pressure as well. So I've actually taken on another community. So I'm also the editor of the Conroe and Montgomery area, as well as Tomball and Magnolia. So that's a huge span of a lot happening, especially during these pandemic times where, in some degrees there's fewer things happening, and in other places there's a lot more happening and such. So it's been a challenge just across the board, but I am so thankful that we still have a presence in the community, and that the community still trusts us to show up to events and report on city happenings and things like that. So.
And is there anything you'd like our customers or businesses to know about the community impact?
I've said it, I'll say it again, but I love our mission of, helping local businesses thrive. I think one of our most read parts of our paper is, if you open it up and there's a map, and our impacts map where we show, what's coming soon or what's recently opened. And that's just a lot of fun to put together as well, to meet new business owners in the community. And so we're always, trying to help our business owners, even with just, that kind of brief announcement and such. And so, just encouraging them to reach out to us. We can never really guarantee anybody coverage, but I just, love having conversations about, what's going on in the community, because I think that makes, our stories better if it's not just what I think people, need to know or want to know, but what, people really are hearing or wondering about. And same thing with readers. We love hearing from readers, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly, the great stuff. I enjoy just, maybe not getting that FaceTime so much now, since I'm not able to be out in the community as much, but still making those connections with readers, because they're really why we do what we do.
Okay. And what is the best way to contact you?
Yeah, probably email. That goes straight to me. So my first name, so Anna, so A, and then Lutz, Lotz, at communityimpact.com. So email, which really, if you go on our website and you click on my byline, you can also send me an email that way. But also, following us on social media. So Facebook, our Facebook page, we'll get messages through there, or comments on stories or whatever that we'll often respond to. And so those are the best ways to kind of keep up with us, or share your feedback.
Well, was there anything else you wanted to talk about today, or tell anybody about?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity. I love, like I said, I love being in this community and getting to know the community for more than just, the people who probably see my face in the paper every month or such. So I appreciate our readers so much, and I appreciate this community, and just for the trust that they have in us, and how they look to us for, the local happenings and stuff. I know it's a huge responsibility, and one that I don't, carry lightly. I always want to, make sure we're informing our community well, and trying our best to stay on top of all the great and the fast-paced development and transportation growth and such that is happening in the greater Tomball area.
It is. Okay. Well, thank you for coming, and that's the end of our conversation.